I did an SMBF show. That was my first show. Like I said, it was a bucket list item, and then I stopped competing after that one show. And I did
So,
2014.
uh, so you did it 2022 was the first time you started competing, and
Right.
then you took some time off, and then you came back. What was that experience like for you that first time as a competing bodybuilder?
The first time I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know I needed a coach. I was on bodybuilding.com. I was on Google. I was like, okay, I need to eat tuna. I need to eat egg white. So I prepped myself. I look back on those pictures today and I'm like, what was I thinking? Because, like I said, it was a bucket list item. I didn't plan on coming back to the sport. It was just supposed to be a one and done thing. After that first show, I went on and I started just running. I was doing marathons. I was doing half marathons with the run group in Florida because I moved back to Florida at that time once I got out of the military. And then another young lady approached me about doing a show, and that was in 2014. And then did another SMBF show, and then I did an NPC show, and that's how I got back into bodybuilding.
Yeah, yeah. See, like everybody's come up approach you and say, "Hey, you want to be a bodybuilder?" It just seems like I know quite a few often I do interviews with ladies tell me that that's how they get into it
Exactly.
because, especially a lot of people got out of the military because that regimental lifestyle of the military, that fundamentals you learn and grow for it. It's like my niece, my oldest niece, she was in the army. My youngest nephew also was in the army, and just try to find a purpose for yourself.
Right.
So now that, how did you get into the army? When did you enlist it?
I enlisted January 21st of 2003, and I was on active duty until December 11th of 2007. After that, I went to the reserve and I did the National Guard. So I have a total combined of 16 years in the Army.
Hmm. And what was your ranking position?
I was a paralegal for the first 13 years, and for the last 3 years, I was a human resources officer. I got commissioned and became an officer.
So well, that's pretty good. I mean, the military can set a lot of people with a career and a future in the sport. So, what was that like? That feeling that first time you're on stage? Can you think about it? When people don't think about what the feeling is to be a bodybuilder, because one thing is you're out there on the stage, and what we see from the outside, we see these people pumped and in great shape and muscular, but people don't realize you're hungry, you're starving, dehydrated, you're tired, all that to get to that stage. What was that feeling for you that first time?
It was all of those things. The nerves were, I am not a public speaker. I am not a person that likes the limelight, regardless of what people may think, because they only know me through social media. But that, I was terrified. I was terrified. I saw like the other ladies, and they had been competing, I know, for years, and it was my first time. So I knew when I saw them, I was like, yeah, this isn't going to go well. So I pretty much knew my placing, and I did. There were only 5 ladies. I placed fifth out of the 5 ladies. And I actually did bodybuilding. I did women's bodybuilding in SMBF. I didn't know what the categories were at that time. Like I said, I was brand new, 2010. But when I came back in 2014, at that time I had a coach. Finally had a coach. I was a lot more prepared. Still nervous. I still get nervous till this day. All these years later, I still get nervous because I feel like if I'm not getting nervous, then something's wrong. But yeah, definitely the nerves. That was the hardest thing, getting past the nerves.
Yeah, it's tough. And who was your coach at the time, and who's your coach now? Since you,
My coach at that time, my very first coach was actually Tim Durning. He's out of Tallahassee, Florida. He's an old school bodybuilder. He didn't turn pro until I think he was like in his 50s, but he's one of those coaches that believes, hey, no salt, no this, no that. Very regimen. The food was like force feeding myself because some of the foods I had never tasted before. But he was my very first coach, and that was when I was still figure at the time. After that, Tracy Rugged actually became my coach after that. And, she's competed for a year. She was a power lifter. She's done everything, but she was my coach up until about 3 years ago. And then Brandon Ray is my coach currently. He started coaching me. He was doing my protocol at first. And this year was the first year that we worked together the entire prep. And this is the best I've ever looked.
yeah, I had Tracy out here a few years ago. Now she's moved over to the
Right.
PCA. I also have one couple ladies that also used to work with her. Yetta Abdul, Yetta May, also Ursula Morrow, who's been on here. Tracy had a great physique, amazing girl.
Yeah.
I know she's moved up to PCA. Maybe we might get to come back to the IFB someday, but that's our opinion. And Brandon Wade, that's a top level guy. I mean, one of the people that he trains is one of your stable sisters. That is Angela Yo, who is number two. I mean, he has a good list. I think him and the guys like Nasir and Sherry Starnes are probably the top guys for women who get into bodybuilding.
Yeah. Yes. He knows what
Yeah.
he's doing.
Yeah. We have here a guest here. I think somebody might know you. This is Faith Walker. Say, welcome, Miss Walker. She's giving you heart face 100% in the clap. Who?
That's my mom.
Oh, hey, dear mama. You know what? Yeah, I hope you're just as pretty as your daughter. So appreciate it. And like that, your mom being here. What was it like for her being her daughter? I mean, what's your family stemming like? Like, how many you have brothers and sisters or that?
I am the oldest of six. So there are four girls and two boys.
You know what? You know what? I am the middle of six. I had three sisters. Actually, together, my father together has nine, and my mother had at least seven.
Okay.
And I'm the middle son. You're the oldest, meaning you're the firstborn. I'm the middle. We have to fight for our love. We have to fight for ours. You know, you forget your oldest ones. The baby it's the oldest and the baby. The
No.
oldest, yeah, the oldest is father's first. That's the one that gets that father's pride. The baby is mother's last. That's her love. And us middles had to fight for our love. I'm sorry, Miss Walker. I'm sorry. I it's just something subliminal. So, and what's it like when you, especially let your mother say like, I got two boys, sweetheart. I don't want another boy. What's that like for you when you get to buy beer for your family?
They are supportive. They come to all of the shows that they can make. They come to anything that's on the East Coast. They always make it. They haven't been able to come on because I've done the Phoenix show a couple of times, but they haven't been able to make it to that show. But every other show, they're there. And if they're not there, they're streaming the show. But they are very, very, very supportive. They've never criticized me. Why do you want to look like that? It's never been a thing. They support whatever I do.
And like I said, that's good to have support because I know some people talk to say, especially with dealing with their family, they don't understand about this sport. It's just something different because it's not as mainstream as any other sport. You can name a lot of celebrities who play sports like football, basketball, baseball. When most people think about bodybuilding, they think about two people. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lou Ferrigno, Incredible Hulk, and the Terminator. But then, like I said, I've been following sport for a long time. People like Lee Heaney and also Dorian Yates, Iris Kyle, Linda Murray. My favorite all-time lady is Andrea Shaw. I just love her. You guys know I love Andrea Shaw. She's an amazing woman.
All right. I met her a
Yeah.
couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I often hear people say she's really nice. Here, this is a true story. A friend of mine, and I always like to bring this out because this really makes me feel good when I get to meet somebody who met her. A friend of mine was at the Olympia last year, and she got this issue. It's the issue of muscle development. And I know there's some guys out there they hate when I bring this out because you know what? This is why I do what I do, and this is my payment for what I do. Is she took the time off and she signed it for me,
Yep. That's her.
and I just love her. I just love her. I get sometimes I got a brother. He knows that. I told him, hey, don't be hugging my girl, but we're cool now. We're cool. He's my brother. So we have here another person here is uh Jay Upshaw. You
Yes.
know
One of my
who's
friends.
that?
Best friend.
Oh. How you pronounce the name? Because I want to mess it up too much.
Uh, his name is Akil, but that's just his screen name.
So Upshaw, Mr. Upshaw, thank you, and Keel. This is from Manuel L. It says, hey, he said, and this is for your mama. She says, she's a very goal-oriented daughter. I'm so proud. Did she, did she goes strong for all goals. She is a beast. Wow, your mother said you're a beast. That's for your mama, Also, she says she's a very goal-oriented. Oh, this is just a repeat. She's just saying it again. But thank you, Mrs. Walker. So, and you're proud of your little girl. I mean, you think she's a beast. So as you started, you were originally, before you switched over to physique, you were a figure,
Yes.
and you earned your pro card in figure. What was the show? And what year was that?
That was in 2017 at the national show in Miami.
And what made you switch from figure to physique?
I was receiving mixed feedback from the judges when I was actually interacting with the judges, because at that time, every show that I did, I either stayed after the show to get feedback, or I was emailing the judges right after the show. So a lot, the judges gave me kind of mixed, reviews. Some of them were like, "Oh, you'll do well, just you're too striated," and then other ones were like, "You need, if you're going to continue your upper development as far as your back and everything, you may be better off moving up to physique." So that's when I spoke to Brandon. Like I said, he had done my protocols for a few different shows, and he thought that I should move up, and that's what we did. I moved up.
Hmm. And your first show you debuted. When you debut as in bodybuilding, and when was the debut for you in physique?
Tampa Pro was figure. Um, that was in 2020, I think. Yeah, that was in 2020 figure. And then that same year, I did Tampa Pro and Savannah Pro as figure. That's when I received the feedback. And then I did the Phoenix Rising show. And I think that was during COVID. So they had pushed the dates back. So I think that was in November is when I did that show and I moved to physique.
Well, I'm going to correct you on that. You did the Arizona Pro because the Phoenix Rising show, that's women's bodybuilding. I like to see. I'm a stickler for the Tico's.
No,
I'm because that is one of the biggest shows for women's bodybuilding outside the Olympia. Shout out to Jake Wood. He's the guy who saved women's bodybuilding. I got to do this every time I say, yo Jake, I want that money. I want that gun. He has a lot of money. I wish I had some of it. That's what you got in your pocket, brother. You don't have to give me all. Just live what you got in your pocket. I probably live off of it. And what was that feeling when you switched over? Because the look is different compared to physique and figure. Even now, I think it sounds like it's so easy to cross over. It seems like in the last few years because the criteria just keeps changing between both the divisions.
exactly. I think the ladies are getting bigger and they're getting harder. So that's why it's easy to make that transition. Because my main concern was I'm too small. I'm too small. Because of course we are bigger. You see photos, you see social media pictures, you see the professional photos after the show, on some of the NPC and IFBB pages. And but then when you see people backstage, you're like, oh, we're the same size, or you're actually smaller than me. So I'm fine. So that was my major concern. Will I be large enough? But yeah, that switch, it felt great. I didn't have to worry about the heels, because that was part of the nerves. Oh gosh, please don't let me fall on stage. So didn't have to worry about the heels. And it just felt different. And I got a chance to actually do a posing routine versus just coming out doing the mandatory poses, comparison. So yeah, being able to do that individual routine was, it just put a stamp on things. And I like the individual routine because you can see the personality at that point of every competitor.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the posing style is different because with figure you just have the quarter turns, and
Right.
you got the high heels again. I mean, one of my old jobs I used to work at a strip club. High heels.
Oh,
That was necessary. But I know what some ladies told me that sometimes what they used to do is to take their hair dryers and try to melt it down a little bit so get the feet in because you got to think about it. Even though you're on the stage and then you get tired, you get hot, those things swell on your feet. Sometimes you feel like I want to click these fucking off. It's a lot, especially for
it
a
is.
woman in competing.
It is. But yes, I don't miss the heels at all.
No, you shouldn't. I mean, yeah, you got to walk in those things. I know one lady, she told me that she loves her heels. Sometimes she'll be on a treadmill just walking. I mean, that's commitment, that's passion. So, well, folks, we got here from my man, KL, the Wonder. He shouts at him. He says, hey, what's up? Yeah, thank you, brother, for coming through. And, folks, what we're going to do here while we have Tiffany, we're going to jump into social media for a little bit. If you want to follow her, her links are in the description of this live stream. So interest, so support. These days, they truthfully mean this because it's a tough sport, especially for women. For one aspect of it, with the men, they get a lot more attention, and also the cost of it's not as much because all guys got to wear is banana hammers and a pair of board shorts. Women, there's a lot more to this. But guys, right now, out of respect for Miss Faith here, guys, know the pics. Don't send that. Stop it. Get some help. Do you? What? I Tiff. I have raised some of these stuff. Guys can be weird like that. We just. Yeah, you don't have to be a bodybuilder. Just be some guy who just want to show off your woolly wool. It's like the size of a thumb. But so, folks,